All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from around the world, welcome back to another episode of 99 Pod. It's not 1999 anymore, and believe it's not, a lot of things are changing, okay? Especially in the boxing world, as time hits you, man. Time hits you like a jab. 1 minute, you have a guy like Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder taking over the sport with devastating knockouts in devastating fashion, leaving guys doing the stinky leg of the ring, passing out like they in the club, only to, in a couple years, right? This is how fast time hits you. In a couple years, we see the decline of the Bronze Bomber Deontay Wilder. And it's very sad to see, man. Last night, it was very sad to see Deontay Wilder go out like that. But before we get to our breakdown of the fight, I need y'all to like and subscribe to the channel right now as we are on our way to 1K. Make sure you like and hit that subscription button. Share, spread the word. Boxing fans, sports fans in general, we cover it all. Let's go forward, man. Listen, this fight was hyped up to be the battle of the punches. It kinda was like the latest Godzilla versus Kong movie. Trash. Okay, trash. If you saw that last movie, okay, you know what I'm talking about. That movie was trash. Well, this fight was the same thing, okay? And I felt like Zhang was a little bit more confident in the ring, even before the bell rung. I saw Zhang in the locker room. He looked poised. He kind of reminded me of Tyson Fury when he fought Deontay Wilder in the third fight, just chilling, poised, comfortable. Wow, Wilder, he just looked uncomfortable. He looked unconfident. It showed in the ring walk. It was like the Undertaker, and it kind of reminded me of that Boneyard match that the Undertaker had, his last match at WrestleMania, when he went into retirement. The Undertaker, he has those long ring walks where you hear the song, right? And he's walking slow. That's what it felt like with Wilder. He was walking that slow. It was kind of reminiscent of that for me. And he looked slow in there. He was very gun shy, not letting the right hand go as much as he should have. He used his left arm pawing with the right hand cocked back, but that was it. He was moving on his back foot the entire night. And when Wilder did throw the right hand, it was very slow. And that's mainly because he was scared of being countered by Zhang, who caught him with some counters. Now, part of the reason why I picked Wilder to win this fight in the first place was because I thought Zhang was slow and Wilder was going to be a step ahead of Zhang. When you watch the Parker fight, against Wilder, Parker in his win against Wilder was able to utilize the feints, the movement. And I thought that Zhang was going to be a stationary target, which would have been easier for Wilder to hit. We all know Wilder has a devastating punch, okay, in that right hand. But it's normally the speed that comes with it that allows Wilder to be sneaky with it. And because Wilder fought scared, when he did throw the right hand, Zhang was able to see it coming from a mile away like he had binoculars, okay? In fact, Wilder threw a slow jab, and Zhang was able to counter that with a right hand in the fifth round, and it stunned Wilder, and he was able to capitalize on Wilder being a deer in the headlights. Listen, Zhang is not a 12-round fighter. Okay, his stamina is literally half a fight. He doesn't want to be there all night. He saw Wilder hurt, and Wilder was literally looking at the ref. Best believe Zhang was going to pack him up. Zhang does not want to be there past 6 rounds, okay? He wants to go home. He wants to relax, and that's exactly what he did once he saw the opportunity. And plus, when you knock down a guy like Joseph Parker, 2 knockdowns, and you still lose the fight on the cards, then obviously there's a sense of urgency with his stamina issues to pack Wilder up, who was very, very careless. Protect yourself at all times. He didn't. Now, I'm going to go over a couple things that I thought went wrong for Deontay Wilder, because there's a lot. And a lot of people is going to try to pinpoint this into one thing. There's not one thing that Wilder did here leading up and during the fight that you could say that was the reason why he lost. It's impossible. There's multiple layers to this story. Now, let's start off with this. Activity in the ring. Anybody who thought that this was going to be some type of brawl was sadly mistaken. Both of these fighters don't rely on high punch output. Wilder landed only 26 punches against Parker. Zhang only landed 40. Not much better. Zhang wasn't much more active in this fight against Wilder either. Okay, Wilder was fighting off his back foot, which I've said publicly, it takes the aggressiveness out of him. And yes, we all know he's still able to land the right hand off his back foot. He did so against Robert Helenius, but Wilder off his back foot makes him more reactive rather than aggressive. Now, another thing Wilder didn't do right in this fight was not disguising the right hand. Wilder was not able to use his jab to disguise the right hand, nor did he use his left hand to doze Zhang off. Everybody knew the right hand was coming at some point, and unfortunately, Wilder did not disguise it, better yet use it. And Zhang was a step ahead of Wilder the entire night, which I thought was going to be the opposite, okay? Being that Zhang is slow and stationary. Now, another thing Wilder did wrong, and this is going back in time, is firing Mark Breland for Malik Scott. I see a lot of people saying that in the comments. Now, well, I do agree. It's still not the main reason, but it's definitely a big reason, okay, for Deontay Wilder's lack of success since, you know. And granted, this is Wilder's fourth fight with Malik Scott. And I think Malik Scott is one of the smartest minds in boxing. You watch his interviews, you hear him talk. It's almost like you're taking an online boxing class with a professor. With that being said, I think he's coaching the Bronze Bomber out of Deontay Wilder, which is not a recipe for success. Okay? I'm not sure what the game plan was for this fight, but I know in the last fight against Parker, the plan was to have Wilder fighting off his back foot and to disguise traps to land the right hand on Parker. Once again, as I stated before, Wilder fighting off his back foot made him less aggressive in that fight. We've seen Fury recently against Alexander Usyk fight off his back foot, but Fury is a way better boxer than Wilder, and he was able to, you know, activate his jab and win some rounds off his back foot. Wilder is not a guy who's technical. Therefore, coaching him to fight off his back foot is coaching the best attribute out of him, okay? Now we're going to move on to the next one, okay? Retirement talks and excuses is another reason why Wilder lost this fight. Wilder was talking about retirement. Well, if I lose this fight, you know, it more than likely will be the end. So he put a lot of pressure on himself to win a much-needed fight that he needed to win. And because of that, you felt the pressure. You know, you could see the pressure on him. You could see how tentative he was to throw the right hand because he was scared of being countered. And Zhang was able to counter him at various points in this fight. And Wilder knew what was coming back. That's why he didn't throw the right hand with any assertiveness and aggressiveness, because he knew what was coming back. And it did came back. You know, in that fifth round, when he got knocked out, when he got knocked down, well, first of all, the right hand that caused him to look at the referee, you know, that was because he threw a short jab that was very slow, and Zhang saw it coming, you know, and he was able to counter him. Now, you do have to look at Wilder's track record when it comes to excuses, right? Because he has a track record. I mean, from the spiking of the water, from, you know, the whatever it was, there's a lot of excuses that has happened in the Fury fight. Some that I bought into at times, okay? I'm not going to sit here and act like I didn't defend Wilder. But I feel like Wilder has got accustomed to making excuses. Even against Joseph Parker, right? He blamed being gun-shy to throw the right hand on the media, saying that they wanted him to bring peace, and they talked the Bronze Bomber out of him. And this fight was the same way. You know, he did not let his hand go. You know, he was gun-shy in this fight. So, you know, you even look at the right hand that Zhang landed, he looked right at the referee, as if Zhang was hitting him with an illegal shot. That's because his brain is accustomed to making excuses that the first reactiveness about him to do is when he gets hit with that right hand is to look at the referee, okay? Unfortunately, I'm a Deontay Wilder fan, and it's very sad to see the decline, but at the end of the day, the excuses definitely has piled up, and it has made him accustomed to looking for the excuses, you know? It is what it is. Now, the last one, I would say that the last thing that went wrong for Deontay Wilder, I just think is the ghost of Tyson Fury. that came back in full effect. We know boxers are no longer the same once they get hit and knocked out or hit the canvas a couple times. We saw it with Roy Jones, where he got knocked out. He wasn't the same guy. He kept getting knocked out. Before, it looked like Roy Jones was untouchable. He got caught. He got knocked out. Never was the same. It was easier to knock him out. Same thing with Mike Tyson. Once he got knocked down, it was easier to beat Mike Tyson. It's the same script. Deontay Wilder was in 3 big fights against Tyson Fury. Got beat badly the second time. The third fight was very, very back and forth-ish. It was like one of the best fights I've seen. But it all added up, and it made Deontay Wilder more scared, fighting in the ring, very gun-shy, the inactivity, the timing being off. So all these things, retirement, excuses, firing the trainers, the activity in the ring, not disguising the right hand, all those things came back in full effect. And I firmly believe that Wilder, not staying the course, not continuing to do the things that got him where he was, trying to be somebody else, allowing other guys to coach him out of what makes him do, the best. I think that, played its toll, and we saw what we saw last night. And I also just think that His Excellency just had too much faith in Deontay Wilder. He visited him in the locker room before the fight and talked about, he was going to come back and he believed in him. And obviously this fight being the main event, which it really shouldn't have been. Obviously, Arthur Beterbiev and Bivol was supposed to be the initial main event. That fight got postponed to October. So they made this fight the main event, which I thought was a bad mistake. There was clearly better fights. Every other fight prior to this one was better than this one. And obviously His Excellency talked about the Anthony Joshua fight, finally making that. They asked him in an interview, what's next for Joshua? And he said Wilder. That's the fight that he wanted. So he believed in Wilder. And Wilder, unfortunately, failed him again. He gave him another opportunity to get it right. And I thought that Wilder would have pulled this one out. But unfortunately, it's not 1999 anymore. Things change. We see it so many times in sports. Father Time waits on no man. And we just got to get with the program. Ladies and gentlemen, I am out. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel to get more boxing content. I am outie. Peace out.